Hi, everybody, and welcome to my channel. This is the first installment of a little thing I'm calling I Know That Nerd. And I couldn't be happier than to introduce to you the first ever. Hold on, mute that. Sorry. I'm getting there, folks. Uh, but it's my great pleasure to introduce to you my first ever guest. You might know her as Mallory Dorn or Sanrixian or the mother of Dragons or the hand of the dragon, or I've heard people call you Mallory Starshine.
hmm
Mal, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Mallory with Mallory Dorn. I'm fully doxxed, so it's not a problem. But I'm also known and better known as Sanrixian around these parts in the Mythhead community and the Twitteros. Yeah, I do art. I'm a fan artist and I'm a 3D animator by day. So I'm here to answer your burning questions with Steven,
Right,
my beautiful
right.
queen of bearded beauty.
All right. Well, Mal, thanks. Should okay? Do you prefer Mallory, Mal, Sanri, Sanrixian?
What
What
do
do
you
you
feel the
prefer?
most comfortable with?
I
Because
mean,
really, any
I
of
just
them.
call you. I usually just call you Sanri, but
Sanri's good. I like Sanri. It's my
okay.
little fandom nickname that everybody comes into eventually on their own. So I like
Okay,
it.
so that's going to lead me then to my first question. Where does Sanrixian come from?
Oh, that's a big one. I've been kind of holding back spilling the beans
You don't have to answer any
on this
question you don't
one.
want to, but I'm going to ask the hard hitting questions.
Okay. Well, I'll give you guys a teaser. Oh, Lucy's in the chat. Hi, Lucy. Um, Sanrixian means like leader. It's a title. It's not a name. So I actually took Sanrixian as my handle um years and years and years before the Game of Thrones, the Song of Ice and Fire fandom, probably like I don't know. I was like 14 or 15. So, and my name on the internet has gone through many things, and I'm not going to say them all, but Sanrixian is where it landed, and it just kind of stuck. And nobody ever has that name because it's a word I made up for a title, and that title is the leader of a dragon castle, and that's all I will say. So,
Okay.
if that piques your interest, maybe one day I'll get around to drawing my own kind of thing for y'all. I have comics and world books. Like I've been working on this shit since I was like 10. Like, obviously it's changed and grown a lot over the years, but if it's something y'all are interested in, maybe if I can do this one day full time, I'll get time to work on it. But right now, I'm just drowning my sorrows in Game of Thrones fan art and Song of Ice and Fire fan art. Right?
Right. Okay. Well, l- l- let's start from the beginning then, shall we?
Yeah.
You were born somewhere, somewhere.
Yes. Do I reveal that now?
Well, you can reveal as much as
Oh,
little
okay.
as you want. I know where you live. I know where you live, quote unquote, now, but that doesn't necessarily mean you were born there. And the people are here to learn about you.
Oh
You know
man.
what? Before I answer that, I do want to say one more thing. You are very well known for your wonderful artwork that you do week in and week out for this community, but we are not having Sanri do art today. We are talking to Sanri about the lady behind the art. So for all of you that want to look at her art or buy her art, there's links in the description right now. Feel free to go ahead and pull that up and look at some of her art while we're having this conversation. But yes, Mallory, where were you born?
I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, and I have
Okay.
managed in my 30 years on this planet to move from one side of the state to the other. Liana, you're fine. Sorry, my
So,
if you heard that giant groan, that was my dog Liana. She's down here looking
oh,
like a goof.
that's a
It's a good doggo, right?
beautiful dog.
She's a pit bull Rottweiler Chow Doberman mix, so she's just a Heinzer, as we say up in the Lou.
Right. Well, she's very pretty. She's a dog of black and white from the look
Yes,
of her.
yes, she is, and her brother is the black of the black and white dogs. Wherever he is, he'll come. He'll come around eventually.
Right on.
So yeah, I was born in St. Louis, and I moved to Kansas City to go to school out here at the Kansas City Art Institute. I have a degree there in animation and art history.
Well, that was
So
going to be some of the questions anyway. But you studied where now?
the Kansas City Art Institute, not the fake AI chain, the actual like
Right,
100-year-old school that Walt Disney went to for a while. But that was way before we had any kind of animation program, I'll tell you that.
right. Well, that's cool though. So you went to the same school Walt Disney went to. Fun fact, I was born on Walt Disney's birthday,
Oh, neat. When is that, Stephen?
December the 5th.
Thank you. I knew it was in the winter.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Your birthday is not in the winter.
It is not. Should we?
Again, it's as much or as little as you want to reveal. The
Um,
thing is, I believe it says on your Twitter
oh, it
profile
does.
your
It
birthday.
does. I'm fully doxxed, so this
Right.
will reveal all. I was born on September 8th, 1988, at exactly 4:20 p.m., which I
Oh,
love. My mom hates. She hates it. It's great. I get to tell everyone with just this giant smirk on my face, like, yeah, 4:20. So
that's
I
cool.
am like a double Virgo, which my wives Bernie and Visaria told me means I have a lot of feelings, and then I have a Capricorn rising, which means I'm interested in fantasy art and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, dead on.
Right on. Well, that brings me to how I met you, which was actually through Twitter,
Hmm.
right? And I'm going to expose myself just the tiniest little bit with this story, but I met you through Twitter. It was probably a retweet from History of Westeros, probably,
Yep.
and it was like, oh, cool. I try to be supportive to everybody in the fan community, so I hit the like. I started to follow, and you posted more and more art, and I started to really come around to your art style. Because full disclosure, I think that first one I was like, I'm not sure I like them, and I mean, I'm not trying to say anything bad. I love what you do, I really do. But your art, your style is it's unique,
Hmm.
and I think it was like that thing where I had to taste tasted a couple of times before I decided I really liked it. And now I really like it. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing,
Your
you
shirt.
know, wearing the Sanrixian t-shirt, brought down just so people could see. I got the calendar, you know, it's got a lot of great artwork in it. And if you get a calendar, Sanri will always put a personalized message on there for you, as you can see. Yeah.
Yeah,
King of Bearded Beauty, she always calls me.
I do have my nicknames and I do stick to them.
Right.
I don't mean to. I try to come up with new ones, and then I'll be like, oh, I've called you this before, haven't I?
Yeah.
It's my inner Leslie Nope that comes out.
I don't get that reference, but that's okay.
Oh, sorry, Parks and Rec. Yeah. It's a
Okay.
good show. You should watch it.
It's on my list. I love the show Community, and everybody tells me if you like Community, you'll like Parks and Rec. So
Yeah, or if you like The Office, you'll like Parks and Rec. It's kind of
right,
Community and The Office merged together.
right. I've watched a little bit of The Office, and I did enjoy it. Like I say, it's on the list. It's about third or fourth down behind something like The Umbrella Academy, The Expanse. There's several things out
Mhm.
there to watch.
Yeah.
Um, there were a lot of great questions that people on Twitter submitted, and
I
I'm going to
wanted
give you a couple
to,
of them.
before we go there, I wanted you to follow up on your story there about how you found my artwork, because interestingly enough, like, I'm fully aware of what my artwork looks like, which is why I have a genderless title as my name, and usually I don't fully dox myself in fandoms. This is the first one where I'm like 100% out. Like, it's kind of embarrassing because my mom I should tell this story. My mother found my streams, and I get this frantic phone call at like 8 p.m. on a Saturday, and she's like, Mallory, what are you doing? You're streaming with the devil. And I'm like, what? Because everybody sees Lucifer, and they instantly
Right,
are just like, oh, you're a Satanist. So that's not the point of it. We all know the Luciferian myth, the fire of the gods, and what that means. But
right.
anyway, it's kind of weird to me. Like, I don't really tell like a lot of people in my personal life like what I do, and my Facebook is just absolute chaos. Please don't add me on Facebook. Like, I don't ever use it. I won't see the stuff you guys are posting.
Yeah, I have a Facebook and I'm on there enough to use Messenger, and
Yeah,
that's about it.
yeah, that's about the only thing that I use it for as well. But yeah, but what you were saying, yeah, about my artwork like not originally striking a chord with you. I think in the 2 years that I've been doing like just mainly a Song of Ice and Fire art and
Right.
rules and stuff, I've really like gotten a lot better, and I think a lot of that has to do with just constantly drawing and working and on improving myself. When I first started, I was doing a lot of like black and white traditional pieces, and your portrait we did of you that's on your banner, your YouTube banner, and all your marketing and branding
You mean
presented
this right
here.
here?
Yes, presented
That
here.
I custom ordered a frame that's coming. It's not here yet, but yes, this was a piece, and this is not digital. Is that right?
Correct. It's all traditional.
It's a non-digital piece. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. Please go ahead.
No, you're okay. My cat's just knocking down everything because he hates me. Because I didn't pet him when I walked in immediately. He's so much like his namesake. His name is Rhaegar, and he's a
Right.
little pussy diva. I love him. Um,
Well,
what was I talking about?
oh, hey, there's a lot of great people in the chat, and I want to say hi to them, by the way.
Oh man, they
Mostly,
came from me.
especially Courtney, who identified my mother in the background. Yes, Courtney, that's my mother. You met her at the, and then LML and Aziz and Nessie, the questing beast, Dark Mother, Pablo, Vanessa Amesti, Melena, Emilio, Bernie. There's a lot of great people in the chat.
Mary,
I saw Miss
Stefan.
Mary earlier.
Yeah.
Sean MC, Duncan the Small. Everybody. Thanks so much for turning out for this. And to be honest with you, like this is a little bit of a dream come true for me. One of the things I've always wanted to do was have an opportunity to just sit down and talk with really great people in the fandom. And I feel like I've grown my presence online enough to where I can have people show up and actually pay attention to what we're talking about. And I couldn't be more thrilled that it's you, Sandra. You're
Oh,
just you are a bright spot in this fandom, and I couldn't be happier to have you on.
I'm I'm not usually the center of attention. I'm sorry if I'm
Well,
bluntly
you
like
are
a diva.
today.
So, um, yeah. Thank you. I feel honored to be here. I think you're a really great member of the community. We like to call you Brother Steven. Set
Yep.
the tone of Pepperidge Farms, Brother Steven, like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we like to call you amongst the myth ladies, at least. Brother
Okay.
Steven, we love you.
What are you drinking there?
A La Croix.
Oh, LaCroix. What flavor?
Lemon, because they were out of everything else at the store. Because within the last 3 years, Steven, people have caught on to my drinking sparkling water habit. All the
Mm,
hipsters have, and they're ruining it. So I used to
specific.
be able to get whatever flavor I wanted, and now all the hipsters have discovered how great sparkling water is. So now I'm like back to lemon. I want my peach pear.
Right.
And they started making alcoholic sparkling water, which that was just a straight gift from God, let me tell you.
Well, I don't drink at all, but that just means twice as much for you. I'll be over here with my coffee.
Yeah. What kind of coffee do you like? I was a Starbucks barista for 4 years. I
Okay,
can tell you what your coffee means about you.
so breakfast blend, cream and sugar.
You are
90% of the time. The other 10% of the time, it's like mocha with an extra shot, maybe.
now I know that's pretty much what Aziz drinks.
Mm.
Pretty dead
Well,
dead sure. So
Aziz
that's
is probably the smartest man I know.
I
So
know. So and if you drink the same coffee as him, obviously you absorb his power, right?
I'm going to go with that.
uh yeah, that's a quality drink. That means that you are a solid man. Anybody
Thank
who
you.
can just drink coffee with cream and sugar, I don't care, frou it up, but if you can drink just coffee,
Yep, just coffee. Okay, so and I wanted to also say, do you remember meeting at Con of Thrones? Because that was one of the highlights of that whole weekend for me.
yeah. I
You were
earlier when you said you met me and you were talking about Twitter, I thought you were referring to this. So I was like, "Oh man, he's gonna bring it up." Yeah, go ahead, tell a story, Steven.
Well, it was really awesome. It was like you were cosplaying Tiana of the Tower. So you're already like not looking like your normal self. And then, I knew you from looking at Twitter on my phone where the size of your face is about the size of a dime, so I had some idea what you looked like, but not really. Um, but we were like standing in a circle, and I think it was me and you, and I can't remember who else was there. Might
Uh,
have been LML or Aziz or somebody like that, but
I think it was a Shea and
maybe
either
yeah,
Alodia or maybe Lauren. I don't remember. It's kind of hazy. We were on the
yeah,
Dragon Port.
yeah. Well, it was
Dragon
on the
Pit.
smoking deck. Yeah,
Dragon Pit.
Dragon Pit. That's
That's the
right.
coolest name that I've heard, so I'm going with that.
Works for me. It's also quite evocative. But yeah, we were standing in the Dragon Pit in a circle, and you know, somebody said something about Stephen Stark, and you immediately looked at me and went, "You're Stephen Stark," and I'm like, "Yes." And I got you are not a tall lady either, or a large lady,
No.
but you put your back into that hug, and it's not one I'm likely to forget very soon.
I'm
Um,
so embarrassed. I was just so overcome with happiness because I knew exactly who you were. I had been hearing your name for 2 years on the History of Westeros streams, or
oh
however
wow,
many years it was at that time, that you'd been a patron. And like I was on the outsides of the fandom when I heard your name for the first time, so like it resonated with me. Like I have this weird artist's visual memory where I can associate
right.
like parts of names and like icons with people, and I had the same problem like recognizing people face to face. Like Maester Mary introduced herself to me and I was like, "Who are you?" But to be fair, I had just gotten off a plane and it was early for me still. Before noon is early for me. I don't do good in the morning. But I was like, "Oh, Mary, okay." And it like took me a minute. So, but yeah, I definitely was like, "Steven!" And I
And
kind of hugged you.
I was fairly taken aback in that moment. I mean, I have some social anxiety stuff, and I'm not much of a hugger. Of course, the con is a whole different consideration, and I'm just like, and I had to admit in the moment, I'm not sure who you are. And you said, I'm Sanrixian. And I believe my response was pretty much a
Oh,
hug, just like the one you gave me.
it was, yeah. Oh, and the hug came back and it was great. But for whatever reason, like I was like, "Steven," and I was like, "This is okay to do to Steven." And thinking about it and looking back on it, I'm like, "Why did I do that?" Like, I'm sorry because I also have social anxiety. Like, I don't know
Right.
what I was thinking. I was like, "This is a great idea to just
You were
tackle
thinking
my
the right
friend."
thing. We're at the con.
Yeah.
Con is where family gathers together. It's like it's the one thing a year that I look forward to the most. You can keep your Christmas, your Thanksgiving, your whatever else.
These are our holy holidays in April and June this year.
Right. And I wish I could make Ice and Fire Con, but I just can't afford two in one year. I just can't do it. I've got kids and stuff and whatnot. So
Yeah, no, totally understandable. It's really fun. I'm going again this year and I'm selling. So I'll have a table. So y'all should
right.
come see me and give me hugs and ask questions later, as
Okay.
Drinks and Nose says in the podcast.
Speaking of questions, I have several that people posted online
Let's do it.
that were I thought were both really really great and really insightful. Some better than others. It's all right though. I'm
Dog,
not going to out anybody.
dog, 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 dog.
But
Goodbye, dog. Good.
top first question I've got for you. We're gonna Lady Shar, aka at Charla 1970, and I think she's in the chat. I think I saw her.
Right, Mom of House
Uh,
Tall Strong.
well, but Lady Shar had a few questions. One is, where did you study art? I'll take that one. She studied at the Kansas City Art Institute. I was paying attention.
This is Steven, my PR rep. He will
Right.
be answering all questions.
Uh, but her next question she put about 4 or 5 in one tweet, was, who is your favorite artist?
Oh man,
Other than yourself, don't say yourself.
I never say myself. My favorite non super famous artist is my real life best friend, Emily Denich. Her handle is Ghost Green on Twitter, and she is absolutely incredible. She is doing this comic. She's gonna murder me if she ever sees this because I completely forgot the name because I'm on the spot. But the Long Con, the Long Con. It's through this independent publisher. So she's the best artist I've ever met in my life. Like, there's nothing that girl can't draw. I love her to death. She's a wonderful, hilarious person. I highly recommend you follow her on Twitter. She's awesome and really funny too. So if you think I'm funny, basically you will get her brand of humor because we're basically reflections of each other. I'm
Right on.
small, she's tall. I got boobs, she got junk. You know, we balance out. That's what we do.
Right. If you took the two of you, put you in a blender, and poured you into two glasses, you'd be like two perfectly normal average
Perfect.
women.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Um,
What was that? What
and
was your handle again?
Ghost Green.
Ghost Green.
Mm-hmm.
One word?
Yep.
But she's getting a follow right after this.
Uh-oh. Hang
Well,
on.
sure.
Yep.
Uh, and
Sorry.
for the chat, everyone, I'm seeing the chat roll by. I'm not paying that close attention. If you've got something that you really want to make sure I see and ask Sanri, just tag me in it first, and I'd appreciate that.
Sorry. I clicked a window and my YouTube freaked out and started replaying the same clip for like 5 seconds. So, yes, her handle's Ghost Green. What did you say after that, Stephen?
Oh, I was just talking to the chat and telling them
Oh,
to tag me if they got a question.
oh, they released the bees. Thanks, Left Mom.
Yeah, yep.
Yep. Okay, so artists. We were talking about artists I like.
Yes, we were. And your favorite artist is Ghost Green, your real life best friend, who is making a comic book called The Long Con.
Oh, you're very good at retention, Stephen. Look at that short-term memory. Um, my
I'm actually pretty surprised. I've done some things to damage my memory. Can't remember exactly what they are, but
haven't we all? Live life, kids. Drugs are bad. My favorite,
right.
like classical artist, if you want to go that way, since I have a degree in art history, is Velasquez. I don't know why I did that. He is, or Caravaggio rather. I would say both are incredible. One's Italian and one is of Spanish heritage, and
Okay.
they. I'm going to talk about Caravaggio for a minute. He's awesome. He basically invented high contrast, which is really sharp black and white. So
Hmm.
that's something I'm super into. Mike Mignola, who's one of my favorite comic book artists, he does Hellboy, Big
Right.
Daddy, all that stuff. He has a very high contrast visual style. It's basically all black and white. Like I have two of his from the Vault ink books, which basically inspired my anthologies. They're just a collection of like black and white drawings. Hi, Rhaegar. And they're really incredible. They're just like basically his finished sketches copied, and you can learn so much from an artist from just like their drafts and their sketches. You can like see, it's almost like, not, I don't want to say this, it's like seeing their underwear, but it's not really like that. Like my real life best friend Ghost Green can sit there and just knock out a perfect silhouette, and you guys watch me draw all the time. Like I basically just made peace. I'm like, everybody's going to see it look like crap until it looks good. And LML has a way of talking about it where he calls it like this moment where I bring everything together, when he's like, I don't know what you're doing, and then I just shift it and it like makes sense. I don't know what that technically is in the art world, even though I'm a professional artist, but
I,
that's
I've
that's
seen
a
it happen.
yeah, that's what I like doing this for, you guys. So I'm like, yeah, I will help you learn all of these digital tools and all of the traditional tools and all of our artists if you want. I'm always here for y'all. But I will show you what I do so you can learn from that. So
Right.
hopefully, I hope that I inspire people to draw. And please know, I am not unreachable. You can ask me questions anytime. Like I love helping people. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Right on. Well, I'm gonna move on to some of these other questions then.
Sorry,
Um,
I rambled.
we've got more than one from Lady Shar, but we'll circle back. I'm trying to spread the love. My friend Kurt, aka Pandouter, aka Outer Panda, uh,
Outer Panda the Pandouter.
out at Outer Panda on Twitter, wants to know what is your favorite cartoon.
Oh, Western or
You know what?
non-Western?
The floor is yours, my lady. I would have two different answers as well. You know,
Um, I'm a big old freaking animation nerd, so making me choose one cartoon is so hard. Um,
Well, I'm here to make
I
the
really like the Justice League series and probably Batman, um, the
like
animated
Batman
series.
animated series.
Yeah,
That was really
Batman the
great.
animated series, Tim Drake. That's just it's just incredible. I liked Batman Begins also. I'm a huge Batman stan. I'm a DC girl. I'm sorry, my Marvel friends, but
You're okay. I'll forgive you.
yeah, I have 2 published comic books, so I do stand on a little bit of ground on that one, but hey,
Right?
Marvel is dominating in the movieverse right now, so they did something right, and Thor: Ragnarok is the best Marvel movie, fight me, hashtag. Um,
Okay. Well, I'm going to have you back on some other time so we can debate this horrible, horrible outlook on the MCU that you have.
oh, I gotcha, yeah. Um,
Oh my gosh, Sean MC brings up Space Battleship Yamato.
oh my god.
And I loved that show when I was a kid. I mean, it was called Star Blazers, obviously, Western market, but I loved that show when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's a great one. I love Cowboy Bebop. Who doesn't?
Okay.
If we're gonna
Have you
talk about
heard?
animes, I pretty much, if you've named it, I've probably seen it. My sister, as some of you may know, some of you may not know, she was a Japanese language major in school, so she's pretty much fluent in Japanese. And after she went to Japan, she decided she was going to go to Korea. So she's in Korea still now. I'm going to visit her after Ice and Fire Con, so look forward to those pictures. But she's pretty much fluent in Japanese, but she's not at all a weeaboo. She's not at all an anime person. Like, it is one of the weirdest things ever. She like loves ancient Chinese culture. She loves ancient Japanese culture. She loves like traditional dress and stuff like that for the fashion elements and for all that stuff, but not a big weeaboo. But I would have her translate animes for me sometimes to like practice.
Right
I'd be
on.
like, "Hey, translate this manga page for me of Attack on Titan because I just watched the whole show and I have to figure out what happens." So, yeah. Do you like that, Steven? Have you seen that? There's
Attack on Titan.
yeah, that's a
I,
good
I've
one.
I've seen a little bit of it. No, I to be honest with you, I don't watch a lot of anime. I've
Good.
seen some, and some of it I absolutely love. Like, but I think the last one I got into that I really just loved was Full Metal. You know, Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, yeah, Brotherhood?
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
I've both seen the original and Brotherhood, and I really enjoyed them both, though they're quite different.
yeah, I like Brotherhood a lot better. I thought it was more faithful to the manga,
Well, it's
and,
infinitely more faithful to the manga.
I mean, like, they kind of, like, didn't do Roy Mustang's character right in the other version.
Well, but you understand that like they're those two series are pretty
Mhm.
similar for the very first part. And when they were making the original, that's as far as the manga had gotten.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
And you brought up Cowboy Bebop. Have you heard they're doing a live action adaptation?
I've seen a couple live action anime 'cause I haven't heard, so I'm skeptical immediately.
I
Go on.
literally saw a story about it yesterday, but they've got John Cho to play the title character. So I'm just like, wow, that's
Spike Sporgle? He's gonna be Sport Spoggle? Spike Spiegel. I know what it is. I just like saying his name funny. Yes, that's who the main
I
cowboy.
never really watched it that much.
My
Again,
anime is showing. You brought this
and
out.
that's beautiful. The thing, I guess, when I watch anime, I tend to watch something like Miyazaki
Mhm.
or Ghost in the Shell, Akira. I've seen it probably 30 times and finally understood it. You know,
I still don't fucking know what happens in that movie, and I've probably seen it 100 times. We studied
right?
it in school. It's one of like the you have to watch animated movies. And Miyazaki is a master. He's
Right.
absolutely incredible. My favorite Miyazaki film is Howl's Moving Castle. What's your favorite
Okay.
Miyazaki film?
Spirited Away, pretty
Oh,
much.
classic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like right up there. The soot sprites are still one of my favorite things in the world. The little dusty
Oh,
little
wait a
black
minute.
soot sprites, and they take the sprinkles and they eat them. I'm like,
It
oh,
it might be Princess Mononoke now that I really
also
think
great.
about it. Yeah, but I do love Miyazaki films. That sort of like he has a whimsy to his style, or I know it's Studio Ghibli or Ghibli, and it's a team, but there's still like a certain amount of like it makes me feel like I'm watching a fairy tale.
Oh, Princess Mononoke was probably one of the first animes I've seen. I hesitate to call it anime because it's kind of like just a Japanese animated film. It's higher level than most animated
Uh,
films. Um, so it's just it's like it is the kind of like teen aspect of that one, I think, that kind of like elevates it, because all of Miyazaki's films are kind of about different forms of love between
mhm.
people, and that's like one of the older couplings, I believe. And man, like the wolves in that, I saw that when I was like 14. I know that influenced my shit. There's no way I
Right.
didn't. I'm like, oh, demons, yeah, let's get on board this train.
Right on. Well, talking about film is something I can do till the cows come home. I'm a bit of a cinephile. You know, I tend not to watch the long series of anime, although to be honest with you, lately I've become much more a fan of TV, but that's probably just due to the modern style that TV has with the with the rise of Netflix. They're doing these long story arcs, which I've always been a fan of since Joss Whedon pioneered the thing with Buffy the
Yeah.
Vampire Slayer.
Yeah. I missed Buffy. I'm gonna be 100% honest. Like, I was
Okay.
not allowed to watch it because I was raised in a very conservative, Catholic home, so, vampires, no, no, no.
Right.
And part of it was probably also, like, my mom being aware that she has this tiny, super brain active child who is blind as a bat and running around, so maybe don't fill her head up with terrifying fantasies, because I was a lot as a kid. Yeah. I got into trouble, but
Oh, me too. I
yeah.
understand.
But Buffy was just one of those things that just like went by. Like, I also haven't seen Saved by the Bell, which is a crime, or Friends. So please just yell at
Well,
me
I will
all
say
at once.
this: of all of those, put Buffy on your list, and I do intend to do a fandom spotlight on Buffy the Vampire Slayer because I think if you like the storytelling of A Song of Ice and Fire, there's actually a lot in that show to really like.
Is Buffy Azor High? Go.
Mm, possibly.
That's one of
She
my
is
favorite
she
things.
is the chosen one,
Yeah, so she's Azor High. Yeah.
right? Okay, well, I've got some more questions for you from
Mhm.
people on Twitter who love you. At, at M. Robert Tate asks, what other fiction do you like, not necessarily fantasy?
Oh man. I'm a huge Stephen King fan. I have, up to a point, probably like, I want to say like 2004-ish. Whenever I first started going to high school, I had read every Stephen King book that was in our library, like our school's library. So probably I was a huge reader as a kid. I read so much. So I liked his fiction a lot. Cujo is probably one of my favorites still. That book haunted me. I don't know why, but the idea of a dog trapping like a mom and a kid in a car until they basically died was terrifying because it's so normal. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with that overactive imagination. What other fiction do I like? I love the Dragon Riders of Pern concept, and I read all those books when I was a kid. I've read the entire Wheel of Time series, but it's been, again, one of those
Ooh,
things. I read up until the latest book he had published, and then like I just
you
started
never
doing
went
something
back.
else. Yeah, and I know that he passed away before he finished those books, so that's
Yeah,
terrible. But
um, Robert Jordan passed away, but
yeah,
Brandon Sanderson took it over, and Brandon Sanderson is a good fantasy author.
he did
I
the one Aziz
Mistborn,
always talks about, right?
Mistborn.
Oh, Mistborn. Sorry, wrong one.
He's done other stuff too. I've actually only read his Mistborn series and the stuff he did for the Wheel of Time, but and I prefer the Mistborn stuff because he's writing in his own world. I think it's just going to be better no matter what. But
Right.
yep,
So yeah, I've read so many books. Like, I had a phase for a while too where I was just going to half price books and buying random books with dragons on the cover off the shelves and like reading them to see if I like them. So, I mean, like, I probably read I've read so much. Animorphs were great. Do you guys remember Animorphs? Those were awesome. Harry
I
Potter, of
remember the
course.
name.
Yeah, it was crazy. That was wild. I read the His Dark Materials not too long ago again, and that stands up. I'm super excited to see what they do with that. Hey, Rhaegar. Huh?
Uh,
Um,
Steph is asking, have you read any David Eddings?
I'm gonna have to Google that to make sure I know who that is. I'm so bad with names, y'all. I have not. I
She
don't think.
has. Okay, just something to
Yeah.
add to the list if you ever get bored.
Yeah, no, I'm always looking for book recs. Hi, Steph is. I love you.
Okay, so Jolene A, also known as R Galaxies on Twitter, had a question for you. What is your
Jolene.
favorite thing to draw for fun?
Dragons and wolves. Always.
That's
Always.
just that's just the fun thing for you to draw always, huh?
Yeah, it's just like one of the things I don't really advertise about my store is almost every single order comes with a hand-drawn little card that says thank you and your name, which I know a lot of you and a lot of you in chat have received. Thank you so much for
I've got one.
yep, for buying and wearing my merch. I really appreciate it. It really helps. Every single penny goes to making more. So yeah, I mean like basically if I'm wanting to draw and I can't draw, I'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna draw a dragon or a wolf because I have drawn them thousands upon thousands of times. I understand how animals work way better than I understand how people work. I was one of those folk who did not draw people until I was about like 22. I was mainly like an animal artist, like a nature artist. I was starting to get into anime, so as you can obviously tell from my style, there are some Asian influences.
There's a little bit. You do not have an Eastern style, though. You
No,
really
I
don't.
I don't. It's really weird. My style has always been really weird and super masculine. So
No, really unique. We'll go with unique.
thank you. I like that better than weird. But yeah, it's one of those things I can just do from route memory at this point is just draw
Right.
dragons or wolves. And there's always something inventive and fun about it. Like wolves are giant hairballs, so they can have a lot of motion, and dragons are whatever the hell you want them to be. So, there's a lot of flex room there. So
Right on.
whenever like I see new artists, I'm like, draw a dragon. Just draw as many dragons as you want. Because nobody can tell you what they look like.
Right. That doesn't look like the dragons I've seen before.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Sure.
Okay. Well, Virginie, aka V Daka City on Twitter, wants to know how are you so awesome and keep it cool?
I don't know. That's. Are you
Must
sure you're
be
talking to
the
me, my
it's the
sister?
LaCroix, man. It's the LaCroix.
Yeah,
Got
it's
to be
got to
right.
be 100% inspired by La Croix or Croix,
Okay.
however you say it.
LaCroix, LaCroix. I don't know if there's actually a difference.
Je parle français un petit peu. La Croix.
Yo hablo español. No,
De
no
nada.
francés.
I
Uh,
don't habla. It's one of the tragedies of my life. I don't
now,
habla.
I live and was raised in Texas. Spanish is kind of the unofficial second language here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the Mummers Dracolich at Mummer_S wants to know what is your personal favorite ASOIAF drawing you've done so far?
Oh. Oh.
Which is a hell of a question because you've done dozens of them.
I know. Uh, it's this
I'm going to show you all my favorite one she's done so far. And it's not just because I think it's a portrait of me, but it was genuinely my favorite before I looked at it and went, that looks like a portrait of me. And it is May on the calendar, and it is this lovely gray king. And this is called the Gray King,
Uh-huh.
but this is colored in green,
Yeah.
not black. And
Tricky.
I love that drawing. I love that picture. But what's your favorite? That's what the people really want to know.
I'm really still proud of this one, which is my Jon Snow Watchers on the Wall one. It's got a lot of detail in it. I'll drop a link because this is I don't know what I'm doing. I'm an artist and I'm just holding my screen up. But yeah, it's
It's so
it's one
good
of my
though.
favorites for sure. It's sorry, I have to stop my cat real quick. Hold on.
Well, we'll be we'll have her back in a moment. She's handling the
Wrangling
cat.
cats. Sorry, he
Oh,
is very
wrangling.
cranky because he didn't get his attention when I walked in. But yeah,
Well, I'm
that's
gonna
one
lock
of
the
my.
camera on you and that beautiful cat for a little while.
Oh, Rhaegar. Look, you're on the camera. Say hi to the people. Hello, everyone. He's a very good boy. He's just very much like his namesake, so he requires constant love and attention. And burping. He was yelling at me earlier. I don't think you guys could pick it up though, because his meow is so tiny. So yeah, um,
That's a good choice, though. I do like that one. There's a lot. I'm seeing some love in the chat for both Patchface LML and Derpy the Dragon. People love Derpy the Dragon. What can I say? And it's really cute, but like
he's our
as much
official mascot, I guess.
as much as I love the Derpy stuff, man, like that's when you sit down and you're really and you're really working on something, and then 2.5 or 3 hours later, these lines that were nothing have become this beautiful picture with and I love your color work. That's probably the thing I love the most about what you do is you really do understand color and balancing and contrast, and it makes everything you do just really pop.
Thank you.
And I'm a big fan of anything you do in that space anymore.
Thank you.
Like, and I will say this too: it's not an ASOIAF drawing, but the piece you made for Elodia,
Oh yeah,
the amethyst koala,
mhm.
was incredible, Sanri. I'm telling you, it was incredible.
Thank
I
you. That was many, many, many hours of work.
I don't doubt that for a second.
And LML is great in the way that he is not afraid to like tell me to make changes if he doesn't like the way something looks. So he was like, "Oh, I don't like that. Do this, do this, do this." So it did go through a couple revisions, which always attributes to the time. But it was just a really really heavy piece. There's a lot going on, and I wanted to do it without lines. And I don't. Every time I start doing a piece like that, I'm like, "Why am I doing this?" Cat, I swear to God, he knows there's a camera.
Doing a piece without lines,
Yeah, like a I always like rely
I,
on my lines.
I get what you're saying. Sounds incredibly difficult.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's more of a traditional painting, whereas my stuff is just kind of like normally mixed media, kind of just hashing it all together and really linear. This is more of a refined, finalized, finished, full fledged painting, which I don't do that often because it's so much time.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah.
work, isn't it?
Mhm.
Well, I for one pretty much just love everything you do. Like I say, that uh, it's almost embarrassing to admit that like the first time I ever saw something from you, I was like, I don't
No,
know,
it's fine.
but I'm a positive, upbeat guy, so I'm going to throw a like and whatnot. But it was probably the second piece I ever saw from you. And I went, oh, this is actually really good. And it could have just been down to it wasn't one of your best, or I wasn't used to it, or whatever. But man, I've really come around on you, and I think a big part of that too is clearly you're a very talented artist, but you're also such a lovely human being. And I've seen just not just the way you interact with me, but like everyone else in the fandom. There's people constantly talking to you in the chat on Starry Wisdom Sundays. You're constantly engaging with people on Twitter, and I've never seen you be anything other than just a delightful person to talk to in everything you do. So
As Courtney points out, you're also a positive and very upbeat guy, which is why we get along so well.
yeah,
Our
yeah.
personalities are so similar because you are a delight to the community, a pillar of the community, if you will.
Well,
And
all I've got is my good attitude. I don't have the type of artistic ability you do. I don't have the sort of like that myth head where deconstructing symbolism stuff. I don't have that, but that's okay. I engage the fandom the way I know how, the same way you do. It's not exactly the same way, but
yeah,
I,
I think it's a lot of us myth heads trace our myth origins back to basically really liking all of the history parts of history class, or sorry, the parts of history class where we got to learn about ancient Greek and ancient Egyptian or Roman gods, and we're all like, yeah, stories. So I think like that was something that's always been an interest to me is all that myth. So that's how I kind of like look through things through a lens, if you will. So yeah, I mean, like any kind of analysis or interaction or discussion of literature is valid. Any and all. So I like all of it, even the non-myth ones.
Right.
I keep saying myth, and I'm trying to make it very clear I'm saying myth
We
and
are
not
talking
myth.
about myths from mythology.
Myth with a Y.
Well, Sean MC just asked a great question. He says, growing up, what was the first book slash show slash movie that got you into fantasy sci-fi geekdom? Well, and that's for
Oh
you,
wow. Well, I was raised by nerds, so I was introduced to Star Wars when I was like a child. Like I mean, like 6 or 7. So like my first crush ever was on Boba Fett, and I still don't know how to explain that one because you don't ever see his face in the first 3 movies that were ever made, 4, 5, and 6, right, Steven? Yeah,
right?
I don't know. Explain that one. But yeah, I was really into Star Wars. God, what wasn't? Pokemon was huge. Still is huge for me. I play Pokemon Go. I ain't afraid to admit it. Team Win stink. Yes.
Okay,
Um,
my best friend still plays Pokemon Go.
yeah, it's fun. Chloe's here. Hi, Chloe. Um,
Hi, Chloe,
I'm honored. People.
and thanks for coming by, Chloe. And actually, you know what? Also, thanks to Drinks and Know Things, I see Gretchen, Sarah, aka my name is Isabel Went, Crackin' Tacos, Wheezy Squeeze Box. A lot of great people here today. A lot of great people. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
So, so Star Wars was your introduction. So, is that your introduction to fantasy or your introduction to science fiction?
My introduction to science fiction, and then
Wrong, wrong.
fantasy
Star,
and science fiction.
Star Wars is not science fiction. We'll have that conversation some other time. Star
Okay.
Wars is 100% fantasy story.
Oh well, yeah, but
And I'll
I mean, spaceships to me are science fiction. Dragons are fantasy.
we'll I'll argue that point with you, but it'll be a fun debate, I promise.
Oh, it's just my understanding. You can change my mind. I'm not sold on any hard understanding of a genre. They change. Um,
I'm playing with you, Sammy. Don't
no, you're good. I'm
calm
trying to
down.
think. I'm trying to think of Michael Whalen, who painted the covers for the Dragon Riders of Pern and also the Dark Tower series. Um, he painted those actual book covers. He was probably my introduction to fantasy. Like, I read a lot of books. We didn't have TV for a long time when I was a kid, so I lived in my head and drew all the time. And I would buy like bookmarks at the library with paintings on them, and I still have a couple of them floating around my house somewhere somehow. But yeah, his paintings were always my favorite, and they're just beautiful dragons, and that was my gateway drug into dragons and fantasy and everything. Probably. Um, I'm trying to think of like more stuff that was at my roots. Probably
Well,
some Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah,
right. To be honest with you, Star Wars is like the gateway drug to this whole like genre fandom for 95% of us, I think.
yeah, and man, yeah, Star Wars is great. Yeah. How do you
I
feel about the new movies, Steven?
I mean, I'm not trying to turn this into anything negative, so I'll just say I really enjoyed episode 7 quite a lot, actually. Um, episode 8, I was very ho hum on.
Mm-hmm.
Still am, and it's not like I think it's just an okay movie. I actually think it's, if you split it in half, I could make a really great movie and a really bad movie out of it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Like, yeah,
So,
I know exactly what you mean. I literally spaced out in the theater while I was watching it for the first time, and I was like, "Am I watching fan fiction?" And then I had to like stop and take a step back and realize that I was in the theater watching the actual movie.
right. But like, so for me, anytime basically Ray or Kylo Ren were on screen, I was riveted.
Yeah.
But most of the rest of it, I just really wasn't into. And then
Oh,
from,
I was there for Rey and Kylo Ren. I was there. I was
yeah,
there for that touch. That's what I was there for. And the
uh,
pants. I
are
love the
you,
pants.
you love
I'm in
what?
the dumpster. I love his pants that are so high with his.
Oh, his high waisted
Yeah,
pants, his mom jeans.
I love him. He's just our little angsty, whatever that Twitter account is. It's like emo Kylo Ren. That's one of my favorite Twitter accounts. It's just so funny. He just like makes bad emo jokes, and I'm like, yep, this is on brand for this character. Moving on.
Right. Okay, well, there are worse things, and as far as like Solo and Rogue One, they're good. I'm not blown away. I don't think there's been a great Star Wars movie since 1980. So, which was when Empire Strikes Back came out. For those of you
Okay.
that are not as aware, it's the second one,
Second
which is my favorite movie to this day. So, what's your favorite movie?
V for Vendetta is one that I always come back to. I will always watch that movie no matter
Really?
when it's on. I don't know why I love the film adaptation of it so much.
Did
It's so
you
different.
did you read the graphic novel first?
Of course, I'm a huge Alan Moore fan.
I
Huge
figured.
Alan Moore fan. Like if you guys haven't seen this yet, there's that.
Mm.
So Watchmen is also up there really high. I actually like the Zack Snyder interpretation of it. The
The
film.
the older the movie from what 1999 or whatever it was.
No, the one they came out with in like 2007 or 8 or 9 or 10. I don't remember. The new one.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
new Watchmen. I like it. I thought it was an appropriate. I like Zack Snyder's films. I like his way of storytelling. Like I think I'm like one of like 3 people who actually like Superman versus Batman, but keep in mind I know that not everybody knows. Like there's I'm not going to ruin it, but there's one part in Superman Batman where if you didn't read the comic, I knew that you were going to be confused, and that made me feel bad but also proud that they were like trying to tell the night apocalypse storyline, Steven?
No.
No? Okay. Anyway, moving right along. I like Watchmen and V for Vendetta. Also, the movie Elf, the classic film Step Brothers. Um, and I've probably seen The Godfather about 1,000 times.
The Godfather is a great movie.
It is.
I'll get there on and I'm not the kind of person. As much as I've been razzing you a little bit, I'm not the kind of person that wants to downplay what anybody loves. Like if there's a movie I absolutely think is trash, excuse me, and you love it, by all means, love what you love, But I'm
Oh,
going to agree with you on The Godfather. I love that movie.
I am fully aware of the things that I like that are considered non-mainstream or whatever, but I'm at the point with my life and myself where I'm like I'm a big old dingus and I don't care what anybody thinks. And Steven, you're allowed to razz me anytime. I can handle it.
You're a tough lady.
I am a tough lady. Even though I'm small, I am tough.
Okay, so Stacy27 at Stacy underscore 27 underscore on Twitter wants to know who is your favorite character and who is your favorite dragon. I think I know the answer to that first question
Go ahead.
because I do know that you have a gigantic crush on Darkstar.
It's true. He's my favorite. I love Dark Star so much. He's so dumb.
Things like an emo, he is as close to like the hot topic version of whatever we can get in Westeros as there is.
And he's a Targaryen, or not, excuse me, what the fuck did I just say? He's a
He's a
Dane.
dang
But I mean, he has the Targaryen look, so therefore
right.
he's got the dark purple eyes and the black streak and the silver hair. So he's basically a fantasy elf boy. So let me have my fantasy elf boy. Okay. There he is.
Okay, great.
He's the Legolas
So
of the story, y'all.
right, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever want to, have a shot with Sanrixian, pull off a Dark Star cosplay, and hey, it can't hurt. That's all I'm saying.
No,
I'm not sure it'll work, but it's not going to hurt your chances.
it'll work. It'll work. The ladies will be collecting the dark stars for me at the cons and rounding them up. So just be prepared.
How about a favorite dragon? That was part of the question too.
Melee's the Red Queen.
Melee's
She
the
is
Red
my
Queen.
absolute favorite. She is the best. I love her. I really have a lot of appreciation for Vagar. Um, Probably a lot of that comes with hearing about how she's hoary and old and white from LML about 1,000 times.
Right, the hoary old bitch.
Hoary old bitch. And being on team, she was white and red. So I like the idea that she has weirwood coloring. Who else do I love? I love Tessarion, the Blue Queen. Lady Shar has a beautiful baby. I think she's an Australian Shepherd or cattle dog, maybe. She has a beautiful blue blue cattle dog named Tessarion. She's a new baby. I'm so excited about her. She's awesome.
Very
Um,
cool.
yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh, obviously Balerion and Drogon are way up there, but if I had a dragon, he would be either black or smoke gray.
See, mine. I'm a green dragon guy. Always have been.
Mm.
Except for, well, D&D, the blue dragons are like the most like despotic. Like a blue dragon will set themselves up as an emperor of somewhere and rule with an iron fist. I kind of love that. And
Yeah,
they shoot lightning out of their face instead of fire.
that's
So,
that's pretty baller. I mean, I'm a
but
huge blue dragon fan.
green dragons are where are color wise for me where it's at. But
Mm.
I love green. What can I say?
Green dragons are traditionally female, so
Oh,
dragon would
in Pern.
yeah, in Pern, and in Warcraft lore too. I think a lot of the green dragons, the main sleep
Okay.
world dragon is a lady. I think I don't remember. My Warcraft lore is rusty. I haven't played for years.
Well, in Dungeons and Dragons lore, the color of a dragon will tell you more about its habitat and its relative power level.
Okay, I'm not that far in D&D yet. We are
Oh,
just breaking the we're like level 5, so
hey, Mike, the characters in my game are level 5 right now.
I'm learning.
Is this your first time playing D&D?
It's our like third or fourth go through with the same group. We don't get to meet a lot, and
Hmm.
especially with my schedule of basically working on Sundays, I can't. I don't have a lot of time to play D&D right now. But my sister's huge into it, so she was a huge Critical Role fan, and I'm fully aware of Critical Role. I do not like it. I'm sorry.
You don't have to. I don't watch it either. I'd
I
rather
love
play
that
my own
people
game.
love it though. Yeah, I really love that people love it, and it's brought this like resurgence into D&D. And they had this like awesome little animated bit on dndbeyond.com for a while. I don't know if you saw that, but that was really cool. Like a little
I've
second.
seen some of the animated stuff they do from Critical Role,
Yeah,
and I think Matt Mercer is good at what he does.
it's
But
great. Just not my thing. If I'm gonna listen to podcasts at work, it's gonna be my ASOIAF podcasts, y'all.
exactly, that's where I'm at. I would rather re-listen to. I would rather listen to Aziz tell me the same thing for the fifth time than. But I've gone to the sleep to the dulcet sounds of Aziz's voice or LML's voice, or occasionally I've loaded up Amanda's stuff and just been like play the whole playlist, and
Yeah, Amanda's got that really soothing voice when she likes to
she
put it
does.
on. I like that. Yeah.
Well, Lady Shar had some other questions for you too. Uh, do you do other fan art, non-ASWAF fan art?
I do. I've done a lot of like random whatever anime series I'm watching at the time fan art. I did some fan art of King from Seven Deadly Sins. I did Levi Ackerman from Attack on Titan. Um I'm really like just broadcasting my type right here if you pay attention to all these characters. But geez, who else have I drawn recently? I did a lot of Trigun fan art too recently. I don't know if you ever saw that one. That was a 90s anime, Vash the Stampede.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I love
Trigun.
that shit.
You said yeah, you cut out for me a little bit, but as soon as you said Bash, I'm like Trigun. Yep.
Yep, that's what I did some Trigun fan art recently. I do I started on the internet many, many, many moons ago. When I was just a wee little Sanrixian, just a little tiny chicken nugget. I wrote stories and drew dragons for this group of dragon writers of Pern, like a Yahoo group. We're going that far back in internet history. Basically, you would write a story and send it off to one of these people, and they would determine how good your story was. Would determine what kind of dragon or what color dragon you got. Obviously, bronze and gold, Pernies, top 2 rankings. So, and then the other ones below. But I would draw a ton of dragons for that, and that was like my start on the internet. If you wanna, so that's some deep
Cool.
level Sanri lore. Whip that one out on me. Remind me I said it.
Yep. So when you draw a dragon, then do you have a preferred sort of like styling to them? Do you prefer the longer neck, the more serpentine, the more felinoid? I know you like to put a lot of horns on. I've seen your drawings of like Irogenia,
She's
first of all. Beautiful piece of artwork. The latest one where she's sitting on all the gold. Um, but dang, that dragon's got a lot of horns, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. My dad famously told me that I would never make any money off mean looking things with pointy shit in their ears. Which was like all I drew when I was 16 was just like ear piercings, and I was a little punk goth kid, so I would draw like whatever I was wearing or what kids in my school were wearing or what friends or boys I liked were wearing, things like that. Like, because as an artist, you look around and you take inspiration. Um,
Sure.
so like it's very telling for me to look back through my art because I can instantly tell like what I was into. But I like the horns come from like designing dragon horn jewelry for dragons and wing armor and stuff like that when I was like 14. And it all just like has really weird cryptic art origins. Like I process so much media is the way I like to say it. Daily, like through my job being a 3D artist, I'm constantly on Pinterest. I'm constantly digesting um, visual media and dealing with it. So it kind of like in your mind creates this crazy elaborate like reference book. I don't know if I'm going off the deep end here.
No, actually, you're making a lot of sense to me. Oh, quite a bit of sense to me. I'm the dungeon master for my D&D group, and I've been doing that for years and years. And I think I have something similar where I'm collecting story pieces and plot ideas that I'm constantly processing that stuff. So I have a catalog of things to draw on.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
it's the same. It's the same thing.
right.
It's referencing and designing and resourcing, which I'm going to talk about on my panel at Count of Thrones. Fan art, its place, purpose, and presence in the fandom. So that's one of the things I'm going to talk about is like my process and like how I sort all this stuff. But in regards to the horny dragons hashtag, um, I've always like given them basically crowns. Like when I draw a dragon, it's not just shrimp dragon 6 in the corner. It's somebody's dragon. It's all of George's dragons, when I draw them, I try to give them individual personalities. Like my Balerion doesn't look exactly like my Drogon, and I try to think of things like I have a couple concept sketches of proto Valerian dragons that have like feathers and more beak-like snouts. So it's just it's an amalgam of my imagination and all of the crazy stuff I've ever digested in my life. Like weird things happen every once in a while. Like I'll pull something out and somebody will be like, "Oh, that looks exactly like blah blah," blah. And I'm like, "What?" And you'll look at your work in reference to this other thing, and through cultural osmosis and the internet and everything that exists these days, your ideas can sometimes present themselves in other people's work because you have the same inspiration. So the idea of dragons itself is kind of one of those things. Like every culture around the world has dragons, which I absolutely love. Being a huge dragon stan, obviously. I can't
Yeah,
believe I'm talking about dragons on YouTube right now as an adult. It's crazy.
what what's wrong with that? I love dragons
Awesome.
too.
It's just awesome. I never thought I'd be here. That's all.
I didn't think I would either, but I do have a great love of dragons too. Like I have a few tattoos. One of the few is of a dragon. Is the only like I have symbols, and like I have a Superman S on my shoulder with some tribal, and I have a cross with a rose, but like I have a dragon on my shoulder, and it's like the only animal type thing I've got, and I would get another one in a heartbeat. I love dragons.
Now I have a question for you. Because you
Sure,
are a Stark and I am a Targaryen, and I have a wolf tattoo. Do you have a wolf tattoo?
I do not.
Oh my god, what are we doing? Because I have
We're living in each other's bodies, apparently.
that's what we're doing, Steven. Yeah.
That's kind of funny. That's pretty funny.
Or we're both Starkarians or
Yes,
Tarks or whatever you want to call it.
Star Guardians.
Star Guardians. Star Guardian. Yeah. I'm doing great.
Right on. So I'm going to ask you something else, Jolene. We're going back to a question from Jolene A, also known as at our galaxies on Twitter, and she wants to know. She says you do a lot of digital work, but what is your favorite medium?
black and white, pen and ink, like give me a pen and a sketch pad, and I can go for days. Like just solid black and white art is got a forever place in my heart. Like if you can make it work in two colors, you can make it work. The end. Like
I mean, that's a very succinct answer, you
yeah.
know. So just like an ink brush and,
Hmm.
and a and white paper.
I don't have any of them in here, but this is one of my expensive brushes that I inked an entire comic book with, which is why it's in this raggedy ass state it is now. But yeah, I love black and white. I love ink. I think it's definitely like one of the core base ways you can tell if an artist is good is draftsmanship, which is just your initial layout, your building blocks, sketching. And I sketch in ink, which is really stupid. And
Yeah, it's a no-no, isn't it?
yeah, it's a huge no-no. But
Ooh,
when I
hold
went
on.
through
My dogs are going crazy. Okay, sorry
doggo,
about that. They're
yeah,
lovely, but they're loud.
yeah, that's what they do though. Yeah, I start in ink, and I kind of got over in school. I had a teacher who was just a big pompous douchebag my freshman year of school, and college rather, art school. So he told me that if you drew in mechanical pencil, that you weren't a real artist. And I was like drawing with a mechanical pencil at the time, and I was like, dude, F off. Like, just get out
Yeah,
of my face. Yeah. Like, you can draw with whatever you want and anything is valid. Like, screw that guy and screw everything he said.
oh, I'm with you on that. Art is not,
Yeah, there's
art
not
is
one
defined by
medium.
the person perceiving it. Like I can look at something that wasn't intended to be art and can see art there.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. Like, so when he told me that, I was like, screw you. And also, I got myself into art school on like paints that you can get in Walmart in the little craft section that are actually for painting like plaster and ceramic statues. So, like screw you, dude. But yeah, so it's one of those things where like the medium doesn't make the artist. So ink for me is just an easy, quick way of laying stuff out. I know how fast I am, and I've actually gotten a lot slower the older I've gotten, which is very scary to say. But it's one of those things where when I'm drawing live, I try to be more exact and precise, and I think that leads to me slowing down. But when I do that and I get to pull it off and I get to like make a wolf appear, and everybody is like, "Oh, look," and it makes me really happy. So that's
Right on.
slow down intentionally. But if you ever see me drawing on pen and paper, which you will if you go to Ice and Fire Con or Con of Thrones, you will see me drawing stupid derp gons in the audience, and you know.
I happened upon you drawing a couple of times over Con of Thrones weekend last year.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know how many people saw me. I was mainly just trying to make Michael laugh and keep Matt calm. So it was fun, but yeah. Uh it was a great time. But yeah, ink, go for it. Draw with whatever you want. Express yourself and all that.
Right on. Okay, I've got one last question. Well, there's technically two from Lady Shar. One was where can I get your merch? And I'll tell you where you can get it. You can get it at sanrixian.com, link in the description. But she also wants to know, how do you feel about ass bases?
Mom, that is my right mom, Lady Shar. I love ass faces, and what she's referring to is a snippet from The Garden of Earthly Delights, which is a painting by Hieronymus Bosch, circa probably like 1800 era. And it is just one of the most wild things ever, and y'all should go check it out. It is a wonderful pre-Renaissance painting, and basically you can easily visually like kind of like figure out what pre-Renaissance means by thinking, okay, this person didn't know how to draw a human body. So they were uneducated. Bosch is just he's a crazy man who hated music. So there's a bunch of like ear demons and phalluses and ass faces in there. So check that out, y'all. There's your little art history tip. Oh,
Right on. Well, I was not quite sure what she was getting at, but
oh,
I knew you would know.
she was harshing me, teasing me, my mama.
I absolutely knew you would know what was up with that.
Yeah. Oh, ass base. Sanri will know. Ask her.
Right.
The ass base? Yes, let me weigh in on my opinions.
So I guess I'd like to know then, how did you come to find A Song of Ice and Fire? Because this fandom, let's face it, as much as I have lots of different fandoms, ASOIAF is my number one. I assume it's your number one, and you know, probably everybody in the chat is here because I met them through that fandom. So I'm just curious, how did you come to find the story and then the fandom at large?
Do you see my diva over here? Like just
I do.
luxuriously laying his beautiful luxury fur everywhere. He's great.
Yep.
Sorry. Anyway,
Is that Rhaegar?
that's Rhaegar Targaryen. Rhaegar Grey Boy. He's a good man. Yes. He's a very good son. But yes, I got into A Song of Ice and Fire. I think it was probably like 2010 or 2011. It was right before Dance came out, and I read all of the books with a whole bunch of people that I worked at Starbucks with, and we all read them together and then talked about them, except for one guy who had read all of them. And I remember like walking into work the next day and being like, "I really like the Starks," and he was just like, and I was
Right.
like, "Oh." ah." But yeah, I found the YouTube podcast community. I found History of Westeros first, and then I found Radio Westeros. And somewhere along the line, like maybe like 3 or 4 podcasts down, I found LML, and I was like, this guy, he likes symbolism. I like symbolism. I'm gonna talk to this guy. And I drew him a picture of a solar serpent, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and what an incredible duo the two of you have made over the last year, really. And I know you had done art for him, and I know you've done art for other people in the community. Um, Joe Magician really springs to mind. I know you've done a lot of art for his channel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know you've done some for others as well. No, but the Sunday afternoon live streams week after week after week, and you're cranking out not just you, but him as well. I don't have LML on. Maybe
He'll
he's
get on with you. He loves you, Steven.
yeah, I know, and I will ask eventually, but this is your episode. I want to talk to you about that because you were a person who put your stuff on Twitter. That's how I knew you. And then I met you at the con, and you were a lovely person. But almost immediately after the con, LML took his live streaming into high gear, and he started doing it week after week after week. And he made the Between Two Weirwoods channel where he could have non-mythical astronomy stuff, and you've been on 90+% of his podcasts and live streams, and um, the two of you together have created something really, really special.
Yeah, we're a good team. We're
Yeah,
really um he's he's the best podcast partner in the way that I don't have to worry about him at all. He does everything. I just show up and listen and create art, which is the visual entertainment for the stream. So what I really like and what we were talking about, or I was talking about a little bit earlier to some friends, was how when we create, like when we do our live streams, you're watching me draw and you're also processing information and you're like listening to him talk, and then whoever's on to read the quotes or to do add to the discussion are also talking. We're just hoping, or at least I am, to bring you the most like trippy crazy Sunday chill time, learn a little bit, look at some cool art, maybe learn a little art stuff. I don't know, like it's just this crazy harmony and it works, and we didn't plan it, it just like happened. Like I still don't really know how I ended up on his streams other than we're really good friends. And
right. Now, that was kind of going to be my question: is how did that happen? Because
well,
he just was like, I'm going to start. He came and he's like, I'm going to start streaming on Sundays, and then there you were, pretty much from the beginning, though.
I mean, like, maybe it was just like he like came on, like not a lot of people know. So first of all, don't follow me on YouTube because I'm probably never gonna post anything ever again. unless it's a crazy like behind the scenes con video, which would be you would be told about and you would be able to find. But you probably don't need to follow me on YouTube. Go give all those follows to my fellow content creators like Steven and Joe Magician and Drinks and Nose and Baal the Bard and Up from Winterfell and all of my wonderful, lovely community of friends who's growing every day. Um, Go give them the loves and the likes and the follows. Follow me on Twitter. That's where you can follow me. I post all my art there. But yeah, I really don't know how this happened, Steven. It's one of those things I reflect back on where I was like, I went from being in the chat and being just like a regular and being pretty familiar with his work to somehow I'm drawing with him live.
You're doing more than drawing with him. You are completing the like ensemble, you know. And I'm not trying to take anything away from LML because
No,
what he
he's
does is pretty incredible himself. But when you take his, you know, his script and your visuals and you marry them together, somehow, you know, it's greater than the sum of its parts, I think.
yeah, it's like mythical astronomy is one of those things, and especially like symbolism where it's so visually just inherent in the nature of itself that like when you I guess go back to painting things inspired by it, it creates this really lovely body of work that I've developed. Like just live streaming with him, I knocked out like 12 paintings. I have like 12 new prints or something for Ice and FireCon, which is super exciting. And I love all of the input from everyone in the chat while I'm painting. A lot of times I have to like go rewatch the stream to get all of the comments because I'll miss them or I'll just like get so into it and like be spaced out over here, just like painting for, 30 minutes straight while just like my brain turns off and I go into mythical astronomy mode. We go into the hive mind of church.
Right?
It's crazy. I love doing it, and sometimes he'll ask me questions, and I'll feel so guilty because I'll be so into the conversation they're having that I will be like, "What?" Like,
Oh, I've been guilty of that many times. You know, you're following the chat and uh and then all of a sudden LML's like, well, you know, he did that to me one time, especially it was the mirror, you know, we should Stark back.
oh, that was a
And
hard one. Yeah.
and then he gets to the end and he's like asking the chat, so Steven, what'd you think? And I'm like, oh my God, I think my brain is oozing out of my ears right now, is what I think.
Do your LML impression again, Steve.
Uh Steve, I don't know. Did I do an impression?
It was to me. I don't know. It was dead on LML in my mind.
Okay. If I had time to prepare it, maybe.
Yeah, but
He's got a definite like cadence to his voice,
oh
though.
yes, he talks like LML, and when you are LML, you talk like this.
So Gretchen has a good question. She wants to know, when was your first live drawing?
Ooh, Gretchen, if she means like drawing in front of people, like I couldn't avoid that. Like during school, if I wanted to draw, I had to draw in front of people. I had
I,
a really
I,
cool teacher who let me sit in the front row of his class and just draw because he knew it's how I processed information. So when I aced every single one of his tests the first quarter, we were like, good, all right. But the first live drawing was probably I drew cold hands in the first and only one of two, maybe three episodes I did of Sanri Streams, which was going to be my YouTube channel. I did one with LML. He was my first guest. I was like, hey, you want to do this thing? I'm going to draw. And it was terrible. I had no idea what I was doing. It's still up on the internet. Go see the disaster for yourself. Just close it
I
immediately.
will do that very thing. But Gretchen has clarified, and she meant the first LML live drawing.
The first full painting was Sansa, purple serpents in her hair. That was the first full.
Really?
Yeah. And I did like a Winterfell wolf. We did the Hellhounds of Winterhell rather. It was
So
a
you
Sacred
mean
Order.
this one right
Yes,
here?
present
I
Sansephone.
Sansephone. This
Yeah.
was the first one you did for LML.
Hmm.
Or like, I guess it was the first full piece because I could have sworn you were doing. Maybe they were just do more like the doodly stuff you do before that.
Yeah, it was more like derp guns, and basically We call that the silly drawings, and Sandry gets timed out when she does too many silly drawings because we're having too much fun and we have to be very serious during church.
Right. Everybody knows that our church time is all about seriousness.
It's so serious. But really, to be fair and to be honest, I know how distracting it is when we're trying to learn and to listen about mythical astronomy or being under the green sea, and then you look over and there's a giant derpy seahorse on your screen.
Right.
That's still one of my favorite memories when me and Gretchen had him on. I think it was Sacred Order of the Green Zombies, like 5 or 6. And David doesn't stream with 2 monitors. He fights me on it every day. And he was reading off of his screen. It's all on the line, and he hides the window, and just boom, all he sees is the Google Hangouts window with Derpy right in the front. And that's when
Yep.
he became our mascot. I shut down the stream for a good 5 minutes, and I was pretty
Oh,
proud.
I remember. I was there for that one.
That was
I had to miss a couple of the streams this year. Only a couple, but I was definitely
man.
there for that one, and it was great.
It's so fun. I love our Sunday stream so much because he's been doing it for so long. And I mean, like, I don't know how he sleeps. He has like 3 jobs, and this is another job all in itself. Like, we just we have a great time, and I love all the goofy things we do, all of his music playing. He's such a talented artist. He does 99% of his own like graphic design, guys, which
Mm.
I love. Like, he designed the mythical astronomy shirt. That was all him. He did the text for the Nowie, our season 8 watch through we're doing, or rather our season 8 coverage we are doing. I don't know. My words are almost done, Stephen. I don't have conversations with people. I sit in the room and I make art all day.
Well, I'm glad I got to be the exception to that.
Of course, we're friends.
We've been going for a good hour and a half too, almost. So
Yeah.
you're hanging in there great.
I'm
There's a couple of other questions not related to A Song of Ice and Fire or artwork that I just wanted to kind of ask, about Sanri in general. And one of them is about the music you love. What
oh,
do you, is there a genre or artist that you just can't live without?
when David Bowie died, I took the day off of work.
Okay, that's fair.
That was big. Bowie is probably like my all-time favorite. I love Warren Zevon. If you don't know who that is, that's the guy who wrote Werewolves of London.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
Werewolves of London. Yeah, he's great. My parents were really good to me and raised me right. I was raised on the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, um, Moody Blues, ELO.
okay, so you're like traditional like rock and roll.
I have that background. Recently, within the last like 6 or 7 years, I've been more what I was in high school, indie punk metal. More, it's
Okay.
like kind of like I call it indie spook wave. I have no idea. I like a bunch of stuff. The only thing I really don't get down with is country.
Okay.
I
Because I was
just
going to say, you live in the home city of one of the greatest rappers in the world.
don't.
Okay. That's all I'm going to say. I don't need to push that apparently,
No,
but
go ahead. Go ahead. Tell me. Okay, I was born in St. Louis though. And who's from
okay.
St. Louis who's a rapper?
I'm not sure who.
Nelly. Nelly.
Oh,
Nelly.
okay. But I mean, Nelly's good. Don't get me wrong. But, come on. Tech Nine.
Tech Nine. I know it's Tech Nine. I love Tech
Yeah,
Nine.
of
I've
course.
talked to Tech Nine. He bought me a drink
Oh,
once.
that's
He is
cool.
a really nice guy. He's a really nice guy. Oh man.
That's interesting. I'd love to hear more about that story.
Well, I was working at Starbucks. I worked at the 39th Street, the Starbucks there, which is its own little weird commune or little spring up of little buildings and local businesses and stuff in 39th Street, and then the Starbucks. But the Starbucks was like the most down to earth Starbucks I've ever worked at. It was pretty cool.
Right
And
on.
he came in there to get a drink, and I don't remember anymore what it was, but I was making his drink for him and everything, and I was like, here you go, and I gave it to him or whatever, and I was like, I really enjoy your music, rock on dude or whatever. And then he left. And then later at night, I went out to a bar that was on 39th Street to go get drinks after work with a friend. And he was there. And I was like, oh, hey, how are you doing? How was your drink? And he was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And so we were just talking for a minute. And at this time, he had just dropped an album not that long ago. I'm trying to remember which one it was.
Uh, what year was it?
Roughly 2011 ish.
Ooh, was that Psychology 101?
Yes, yes, it was. I think it was that one. It was after Firestarter.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my
I'm
head.
bad. I'm bad with that kind of stuff anyway. But he had just dropped an album, and I don't really remember the story that well because there was alcohol involved. But he bought me a Malibu and rum and pineapple. That was my drink at Gilhooly's. Yeah.
Cool.
So he was a really nice guy. Who else have I met? God, all my sports friends are gonna get mad at me because I never know any sports people when they would come in or if they're famous. I got on a plane with John Cena and didn't know it was John Cena until I was off the plane. So I'm just terrible at remembering faces and names of like people who aren't celebrities to me. So like y'all are the celebrities to me. I was walking around Count of Thrones like, oh, there's Aziz, there's Azor Hype. Oh my god, you guys, like that. You guys are
Right.
the celebrities.
See, that's how I get starstruck. Like when I was in high school, I worked at Home Depot when I lived in Thousand Oaks, California, and there was a wildfire. And Tom Selleck came in to buy like lumber to fix his porch or whatever. And I'm like loading, I'm like, it's Tom Selleck, whatever. And I've been to LA and Hollywood when I lived near there. And, and I've seen celebrities around here and there. And I was like, whatever. But then at like the first ever Con of Thrones, when I met Aziz, I fangirled, I like
Oh yeah.
fully fangirled.
I was so shy the first time I met Aziz. I was like, "Hi, Aziz. Hi, Ashaya. You guys are so cool." And Lady Gwen came up to my table at Ice and Fire Con last year, and like I had a moment where I was like,
Right.
"Wait, Lady Gwen's coming over to my table. Like, don't look at me. I'm not here." I had one guy, or I had way more people than I thought were gonna know me at Ice and Fire Con last year. And one of them was this lovely gentleman named Matt Daroth, Dareoth on Twitter. He's a great dude. He also came to Count of Thrones. He was dressed up like Tormund. He's a beautiful, beautiful red hair and blue eyes. Really, really cool guy. And his girlfriend won Melanie Lot Seven's Shaw that she made. So see how small our world is? Like
It is very small.
it's
Like,
so nice though.
it's
Like
crazy that I go from like a stream in Aziz's channel to a stream in LML's channel to a stream on Robert Indie Geek's channel, and like I see like 90 of the same people everywhere I go.
it's the chat
Like,
fam.
yeah, and and several of them have been here tonight.
Yeah, I feel super honored by all the people who have turned out. I feel so spoiled and on the spot.
Well, full disclosure, I told you at the beginning, this is kind of a dream come true for me. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long, long time. I asked you because I knew you would put butts in the seats.
That's a shock to me. That's awesome. That's cool. Thanks for coming out to hear me talk about dragons, y'all, with my
Yeah.
brother Steven.
So, do you play video games much?
Yeah, I used to be much more active gamer. I played the most relevant recent game that I played was Overwatch. When it
Okay.
first came out, I played it. I was a Mercy main with a Pharah sub, and I played it with my sister in Korea in 2017, which I think is only like a year after it came out, and it had changed so much. I was like, what am I doing? There are characters I don't know. I'm gonna hit my button. And I probably made a whole bunch of people really mad. But it was really fun to get to play a game in a Korean gaming cafe. It was an experience. It smelled terrible, Steven. It smelled terrible. And I
I'm
was
gonna
like,
have to
why
take
would
your
you
word for that.
I was like, why would you bring me here? And she's like, that's what they all are like. She being my sister.
Right.
Yeah. Also video games. I love Fallout. I love
Mm.
Skyrim. Skyrim is so fun. I've probably played the beginning of that more times than any other game. The Elder Scrolls games are great.
Have you played Morrowind and Oblivion and any of the
I
older
played
ones?
Oblivion. I didn't play Morrowind directly. Um, how video games worked in my family is me or my sister would get a video game and we would trade on and off. So I can say that I played Morrowind, but more I watched my sister play Morrowind. So
Right.
if that counts, is if you watch like let's plays or playthroughs and you're like, I played that game, then that's the same level.
I got you. So, okay, Fallout then. Fallout 3, Fallout 4, or Fallout New Vegas. You only get to play one for the rest of your life.
New Vegas.
That is the right answer.
Mm-hmm.
That is the right answer.
Yeah, I mean, like you could play it for days and days and days. My ex worked with this guy who was on like 600 or 700 hours of his New Vegas playthrough, and I was like, "What do you even do at this point anymore in the game? Like, what's there to do?" And he went through and showed me like all of his trophies that he had collected, and I was like, "Oh, you can do this?" Because I'm a video game completionist. Like, I played Breath of the Wild recently. Great game. Oh, I'm a huge Nintendo fan. We had Nintendo Power as a family until it went out of business.
Right.
Literally until it went out of business. And man, Breath of the Wild is great, but for me, it was I have over 200 chili peppers and raw turkey thighs because it is not a game meant for completionists who want to collect every single
Mm.
item in the game.
Yeah, I'm not a completionist that way either. I'm one of those like I loved that style of game just because you could walk out of whatever structure or settlement you were in and just be like, I'm gonna go west from here and see what happens.
Yeah,
And
that was that open yeah,
yeah,
man. My first video game I ever played was Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo, and quickly followed, if not maybe first, I don't remember the story exactly, by Link's Awakening, A Link to the Past.
okay,
Um, the first thing I did, no, actually, I'm so sorry, I got the story wrong. Link was the first one I played. Zelda was the first one I played, and then later, when my mom realized we had no idea what we were doing in Zelda, being a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old or whatever me and my sister were, she's like, "Here you go, play the Mario one. It's for kids." So the very first thing I did ever in a video game was pick up a pot and throw it. So I hope you all also have done this in Zelda. Destructo Link. I think my name was like CCCCC because I couldn't figure out how to change my name or enter anything, but I was going. I dove in there. That was fun. I love that game. I played through it as an adult, and it was a lot easier as an adult when you could
oh,
actually
I don't
finish
doubt it.
stuff off. Rhaegar, but being a diva.
Okay, so an ASOIAF question that I thought of.
Yeah.
You can't pick Dark Star. You have to pick somebody who has been represented on screen. Who's your
Sandor.
favorite character?
Sandor.
Oh,
He's
your house.
he's my real favorite character. Darkstar is like he's my favorite character, but in a funny way. So he's my
Right.
favorite. So he's like what everybody can know is my favorite. But my real favorite character of the series is Sandor, and my favorite female character is oh man, I always it's really close between Dany and Sansa, but I always go with Dany because I'm a Targaryen loyalist. Sorry,
I,
Sansa.
I
Sorry.
mean, I can respect that. I really can.
Yeah.
Dark Star Fox 64.
Do a barrel roll, emo boy.
Oh my gosh, Dark Mother brings up Zork for video games.
Oh my god.
Do you even know what that is,
No,
Sanrix?
that's
No. Okay, so Zork was this. It's an entirely text-based game, and I remember playing it on like a TRS 80 or something. Like a monochrome screen, and it's like you stand in a. It was a role-playing game, but it was all command-based. You're standing in an empty room. There are exits to the north, south, and west, and you would have to like type west, and then it would take you over there. And oh my gosh, Zork! I haven't even thought about that in
see,
forever.
that sounds like what I thought I was gonna get with computer video games, and then when like I actually got to computer video games, it was like the early '90s, and my dad played Quake, and he thought it was really funny to like let us try to play, and also put us on the headset to talk, being two young girls. Melanie was on Twitter. Where's the live chat? Oh man, Oregon Trail. I haven't thought about that forever. Oh, that was
Oh
fun.
my gosh. Mel, thanks for coming. Better late than never, and we won't tell anybody about your brain fart there.
I did. Oops.
I'll edit that out later. We'll fix it in post.
Fix it in post.
Don't normally quote George Lucas, but there you go.
There you go. Uh, do you have any
So, okay, now you've talked about your sister a little bit, and she lives in Korea. Older sister,
younger and taller
younger and taller. Hmm.
and more fair?
Ain't that just the way?
Actually, she's more dark complexioned, where I'm more light complexioned. Yeah,
Right?
she got all the height and she got all the rhythm. I got the thug and the talent.
Are you? Is she your only sibling?
Yep. Her name
Okay.
is Emily, spelled the normal, regular way. And yeah.
And I assume the two of you are close. You've talked about visiting her a few times.
Oh yeah. She is. We're really close. We were really close growing up. We're only 3 years apart, which I think is like a thing for kids born around the time me and her were born, the late '80s to early '90s. Um, there's a lot of us that are like 3 years apart. It's weird, but yeah, we're really close. We weren't so close in high school, but I think all siblings go through a phase where they like are gonna like yell at each other. And my sister was younger than me, so she was trying to be a third parent, and I was not taking it. So once I moved away from school when I was eight, or moved away from home to go to school when I was 18. So I straight moved out, lived in a dorm for a year, and then like got an apartment and haven't really lived at home since. But she very much was the bird who stayed in the nest, where I was the one who was constantly jumping out and falling on my face and doing things. So I like to say I lead by example, and but I made a lot of mistakes as a kid.
Well, we all make mistakes as kids.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm just reflecting on how little my parents had to yell at my sister, but she's a really great sister. She's awesome. She's a really good listener, things like that. I'm lucky. I'm very lucky to have her.
Right
And
on.
I have so many non-blood sisters also. All of my Twitter sisters and myth sisters and my best friend and stuff.
Right on. What I'll be, I get to be the Twitter brother.
Oh yes, brother Steven.
I mean, I've got lots of Twitter sisters too, but this fandom has just, it's really sort of like created a family space for all of us.
Yeah, that's my favorite part about it. I feel like so amazed and lucky and just happy to be able to have a place to draw stuff for you guys, to have you with me while I'm drawing it, and to make you guys happy. It brings me so much joy. That's what I like to do. I like to bring joy to others. I like to make people laugh. I like to paint pretty things so we can process information through them or to look at and hang on your wall. I like to make shirts, like I just feel really lucky that I get to do all these things in one place with such an amazing group of people. And the way I look at it is anybody in chat who I don't know yet is a new friend. And anybody who I meet is a new friend. So these cons are so awesome because it's like we get to go hang out with all of our internet friends with our military relationships and have our fun for 1 year, week a year.
That's literally why I look forward the whole year to the con, just because I'm like, it's the family reunion.
Yeah, it really is, and it's so fun. I'm really gonna enjoy this year. Like I don't know how I can enjoy it more than last year, but I know I will because there'll be even more people that I know and even more people to hang out with, and I'm just so hyped. And yeah, I don't know how I became Hand of the Dragon exactly, but it's been a ride.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's exploded your popularity, I'm sure.
I know, and like I'm always like I've always like being on the back lines and being kind of like the behind the scenes person. So putting me on the front lines is very interesting, and we have an exciting time when it happens. I get to make a
Well,
lot of mouth and foots.
you have been on the front lines here the whole time, and you haven't put your foot in your mouth not even once. So,
I just did. I said mouth and foots.
mouth and foots. Well, you got really, really far before it happened.
I
So,
did.
cheers.
We made it quite a long time here. Awesome.
So you have a couple of dogs, or a couple
Hmm.
of cats and a dog, or a couple
Hmm.
of dogs and a cat,
Hmm. Two cats, two dogs.
and a snake that you have at least once worn as a hat.
Yep.
And I've also seen a picture of a big old lizard.
Oh, Mooney's very small. He's not. He's only about that big. He was on my
Okay,
head during the LML Halloween
right.
animated. Yeah,
Well, maybe in comparison to your tiny, tiny head, he looks bigger.
probably. Yeah. For those who don't know, I'm only 5'2". And Steven flattered me by saying I came off as taller online. So if you want to flatter me, that's how. Say I look taller.
Yeah, I thought you were like 7 feet tall from
That's
your Twitter
awesome.
bio.
That's awesome. I have big mood, big energy.
Right,
Yeah, I have multiple snakes. I don't really tell you how many snakes I have because it's too many. But all of them are rescues. All of them were given to me to take care of. So keep that in mind when I say I have a lot of snakes. And I have two cats and two dogs because if they didn't have a friend, they would be lonely. And they
right.
are all named after Game of Thrones and Song of Ice and Fire. It's a Song of Ice and Fire house here, but I'm trying to be collectively inclusive. We've got Rhaegar Targaryen, who's been on camera a lot and smacking me in the face with his tail to show his love. Griff, John Connington, and then Beric Dogdarian and Lyanna Bark. So we have a little Game of Thrones family, and they love when their names are said on screen. And so that's why I'm secretly hoping for John Con in season 8, just for my cat. I
Right.
said that. I said that live, and Bernie's like, "That damn animal's gotta hear its name."
I just Barrick Dog Darien is just that is perfect. I love it.
He's a good man. He's a mainly Rottweiler looking. I post pictures of him on my Instagram all the time, which I'm Sanrixian there just with underscores before and after because some chuckle chode took my name.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yep.
All right. Well, I'm going to figure out who that is and go fight him.
Thank you.
Okay. So, hypothetical question. I'm going to give you $25,000, but you have to spend it all on vacation and you have 1 week to do it. Where are you going and what are you doing?
I'm going to go to Europe and I'm going to go look at every single art museum that I can and find Caravaggio's secret museum in Spain and eat as much food that will go into my body as I can. So those Europeans know how to cook. I'm going to go to Italy. I'm going to go to Spain. I'm going to go to France, Denmark, England, Norway, all the countries I can go to.
You're just going to do the European tour.
I haven't been to Europe yet. I've been to Japan. I've been to Korea. I've been to Ottawa, Ontario, but I haven't been
The
to
exotic land of Canada.
Yes, it was very exotic. They had shawarma on every corner.
Was it right after the Avengers came out?
No, it was in 2010 or 2011. We went for an animation festival in school, so we all just like stayed in this hostel. It was crazy. It was a crazy experience. Um,
I can imagine.
yeah, it was nuts. It was a good time though. I got to see a lot of animated films and a lot of shorts and a lot of stuff.
Cool. I've never. Was that the Toronto International Film Festival or
The Ottawa International Film Festival.
oh Ottawa?
Hmm?
Ottawa International Film Festival, not TIFF though.
Not TIFF, no.
Yeah, that's. I want to go there just because that's where because Geek Val is from.
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember where Kyle's from. I'm being a shitty friend.
Canada,
Just the lands of always winter, the north.
right from beyond the
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah,
Well,
basically.
I would have to visit in August or something. I'm a Texan, born and raised. It gets below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and I start to, I'm like, it's cold. I can't handle this stuff. And when there's ice or snow on the ground, I probably fully freak out.
Wow. Yeah, I do well in the cold. I hate the heat. I hate the heat. I don't know if it's my inner goth kid, like always wanting to wear a lot of clothes or what, but I hate like when it's hot. I like just like make the air come on. Like I live for air conditioning. And yeah, that was a struggle.
Oh, OTDA says he's from a place called something St. Marie. Salt St. Marie is the name of that city.
Salt Saint Marie. Yeah, he's from like French Canada, I think. I don't know. I'm gonna
Yes,
get
it's
it
like
wrong.
Eastern Canada.
Mhm. I was a dragon locked in ice, Melanie says. Yes. Oh,
Well, we've got about 10 minutes left on the time that I allotted for this. We've been going for almost 2 hours. Um, is there anything else you want to bring up before I hit my last couple of questions? Anything you'd like to say to the fine people of the chat?
thank you guys so much for coming. Um,
Sorry, my Texan came out there. Chat.
chat. Well, I've been saying y'all this whole time because that's what I say. Hi, chat. I love you, chat. It's great to see a lot of familiar faces and some. I'm pretty sure I know almost all of these names in this chat, which is incredible and awesome. So thank you guys for coming to hear me talk. Having a good time.
Yeah, I haven't
Melany's
seen
from
a
Quebec.
person I haven't seen a person I don't recognize yet.
It's the
Oh,
first.
and Helen O'Grady just popped in. Hi, Helen.
Helen. And we
Yeah,
got.
we're going to be finishing up soon, but you got a whole 2 hour thing to watch back, and it's been a blast too. I've had so much fun talking with you, Sanri,
I'm
but
glad.
I am 0% surprised by that. So okay, so my last couple of questions then we'll get to is uh, you you're not open for commissions right now, am I right?
Correct. Yeah, I am not open. I am too busy to get you anything in a realistic time period that I won't feel terribly guilty about. So
Right,
whenever I do open those up, I will make a post on Twitter. I
right.
usually do
So
about 5 slots.
So follow her on Twitter. Keep your eyes open for when that comes because they run out fast.
Yeah. Real quick. I've got like 4 or 5 that are like pending just in my DMs that people have mentioned to me that will take priority. So there might only be like 1 slot that's actually open. And I apologize. It's just because as an artist, I don't like getting you things like 3 months later, and I did it to Steven and I still feel really bad, but
You shouldn't. It was so worth the wait.
yeah, it does take a lot to take time because I work full time as an artist. So I work 40 hours a week minimum. Lately, for the last year or so, we've been on 50, 55-hour weeks. I do 3D rendering, which is its whole own beast, and it's a different headspace. So a lot of times when I come home, like I'm just drained and I don't want to do anything on a screen. And I have doggos and kikis and hiss boys and long tubes to take care of. So I mean, it's a lot. So really, it's because I'm looking out for you guys.
Right? And if you're working 50, 40, even 40 hours a week as an artist, you might not feel like arting when you come home. I can totally understand that.
It's hard. It's really hard. It's it's crazy because I'm under a lot of stress and a lot of deadlines and pressure at my job, and it's being a full-time 3D artist is its own challenge, let me say that. And it's hard. It's hard, yeah. So I have
Okay,
clients.
so no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I
I
was just
thought you were
gonna
done.
say I have clients and I have demands and I have all this crazy stuff that I deal with and I turn things over, and it's not really something that I talk about because there's a lot of 3D jargon and it's easy for me to get lost in Mallory Dorn, the 3D animator, and like go off into the deep end where I'll be talking about something and it'll sound like I'm speaking a different language because I'm
Right.
talking about programs and different things that go in the programs and how to do things. So I mean, that's a whole fun beast that I want to incorporate in my Song of Ice and Fireworks someday. Like hyper realistic moon meteor impacts, we're talking, guys.
I'm down.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, Melanie's got it. I have to deal with a lot of crazy people daily. Marketers are the worst.
Right. Okay, well, I'm going to close this up then with the last couple of questions, okay?
Yep.
I'm going to make a movie about Sanrixian. Who would you cast in the title role?
Maisie Williams.
I mean, duh.
I'm actually Maisie Williams in disguise this whole time.
Well,
No,
your
I
American accent is on point.
I can't do a British one. I'll just offend all my British friends. And I've thought about, though, for real, Steven, I've thought about tweeting at Maisie Williams like, "I'm me from your future," but I don't
Right.
know if I'm just like if I think that's funny and she won't get it or if it's actually funny, but I think it'd be really funny if she like, I had my Arya cosplay on whenever I do it and my hair up
Right.
and stuff, and I was like, "I'm me from your future," because it's all in the eyebrows, really.
It really is. You both have great eyebrows. You really do.
Thank you.
So okay? So what's the theme song to your movie then? To Sanrixian the movie?
Sanrixian, come on. I don't know.
Okay.
Somebody has to write it for me. I feel
Yeah.
like I can't
Okay.
write my own theme
There's a
song.
couple of ways to go with this. We can repurpose the Sia song Titanium into Sanrixian, which is doable. I think.
Mhm.
Uh, I also love the idea of you're a huge David Bowie fan, and Space Oddity would be a great one for you.
That'd be really good. Lady Shar has written me a song to the tune of Bulletproof. It has naughty adult language in it though, and I will ask her to share that on Twitter later. But I was going through a rough time, and she wrote it for me to perk up my spirits. And the main chorus is "F you, baby, I'll be Sanrixian."
Yeah, that's the same song I was talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Titanium.
Oh, I didn't know. Sorry. That's
That's
great.
all good.
Yeah, that's great.
It's an obvious great choice actually. So Lady Shar is definitely moving in the right direction with that one.
Ooh,
Who's
and,
gonna
Gretchen wrote me, "Sanry Baby" to the tune of "Santa Baby."
Mhm. I saw she posted that one, and
Yep.
I saw it. It was great.
Yes. I loved
So
it.
whose unique directorial vision is going to bring your movie to life?
Zack Snyder.
Okay.
Or Guillermo del Toro. He probably understands my headspace.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's actually a really good
Yeah.
call. Guillermo is a genius.
It would be, it would be awesome. He's amazing. I love his use of, physical puppets and props and actual
Hmm.
things, like, in a world that's so CGI, he does it old school, and he does it great.
Yes, I love Guillermo. Like
Yeah.
Pan's Labyrinth kind of changed the way I looked at storytelling in cinema on some levels, and
Did you
he's
see
fantastic.
It's great. Did you see Shape of the Water yet?
I have not. I've been very busy with kids and work and stuff. It's definitely on the list. I know it's like everybody's raved about it. It's won Academy Awards. I definitely need to see it. I have not made time for it yet.
The best
Sorry,
part of
Guillermo.
the best part of the movie is, teaching well, I can't ruin it. Egg. That's the best
Oh,
part of the movie. Egg.
Amanda, hi.
Amanda!
We're about to sign off, but thanks for coming. I
She's
do love
probably
me some
working.
Amanda.
She's such a badass. I can't wait to see her beat all the guys at foam sword fighting again.
Yeah, I mean, get your cameras ready because I'm taking her on. There's no way I can't.
It's gonna
Like,
be awesome. Are you gonna Night of the Laughing Tree it, Steven?
It just depends on what day of the week it is, I guess, because I'm wearing Liana cosplay on
Mhm.
Saturday. And you're doing Aria cosplay?
Arya, and I might do my Tiana, and I might do a Danny if we have time. But yeah, Arya will make an appearance at both cons for sure.
Very cool. Yeah,
She says she'll be on the
on the
ground.
ground. Yeah, it's great. Well, I think we will. I guess, Sandry, unless there's something else you'd like to talk about, we've made it a full 2 hours, and we've had a. I was a little worried we wouldn't have 2 hours worth of stuff to talk about. I should have known better. I could probably go on for another two, but I have work in the morning, and you have work in the morning, and a lot of these lovely people, I'm sure, do too.
Yep.
So I guess I'll move towards the end game now. So I'm going to start by saying once more, thank you, thank you, thank you for coming on to this. This was a great way to start this series. And you're welcome to come back anytime if you want to do a repeat.
Anytime.
Um, to those of you who have been coming to my streams, thank you very much for coming. I'm going to be not streaming again until after Game of Thrones ends. There's going to be way too many streams about every episode. So, but immediately after the show ends, I'm going to get back into streaming, and we'll do fandom spotlight. I'm going to do a pre-con stream where I'll have some various people on. And if anybody has any idea about somebody they want me to have this type of sit down conversation with, tweet at me. Let me know. I'll see what I can do. But Sanri, uh, thank you so much. Once more, tell everybody who you are and where to find you,
Um,
like they don't know already.
I'm Sanrixian, also sometimes known as Mallory Dorn, and you can find me at sanrixian.com. Please follow me on Twitter. That's where I'm the most active. It's at Sanrixian. My Instagram is Sanrixian with underscores before and after. I'm very easy to find. Just Google Sanrixian pretty much, and I'm sure you can find me. So come join Twitter if you aren't on Twitter until I bully you to get on Twitter and talk to me. Come hang out with us. We're a great family, and Steven does a great job of bringing us all together and feeding us like he did at Con of Thrones. And I'm really excited to see where you go with this series, Steven. It's going to be awesome. I could fill up your recommendation list. Just get all the people from the chat on your show.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
not the worst idea I've ever heard. There's at least a half a dozen people in the chat today who I would love to have on
Oh
to
yeah.
do this very same thing.
Easily.
Yeah. Okay, well, that having been said, to all the chat, I love you all, and I appreciate you so, so much. And we will see you in late May after the show is over for whatever it is I decide to do next. So we'll see you then. Bye.